Okay, I guess we can start. Welcome everyone to today's webinar. I'm Vincenzo Tursi and I work as partner manager here at KNIME. Today, our webinar will be focused on using machine learning to predict employee attrition. And the webinar is hosted by our partner ClearPix, specialized in business intelligence, data analytics, and big data analytics projects, delivering services and solutions around those topics. And we have here on our virtual stage Gianluca Nacci and Mark Guerrao Galsera. Gianluca is the general manager of the Middle East branch of ClearPix. He has almost 20 years of experience in business analytics and has been with ClearPix for the last 17 years. And Mark is a data science expert and key member of the advanced business analytics team at ClearPix. Actually, before we start, just a bit of housekeeping. At the bottom part of the toolbar that you see in the Zoom application, there is a Q&A section that allows you to post your questions. You can upload your favorite questions, and we will make sure to answer those questions live or at the end of the presentation during the Q&A session. And of course, the session is also recorded, and we will make it available soon also on YouTube. This is just a screenshot that shows you how to use the Q&A session, and basically, as I said, you can just click on the bottom Q&A and you can start typing your question and upload your favorite questions. I won't spend more time on this, and I will hand over to Gianluca and Mark to start with the presentation. Thank you again.
Thank you, Vincenzo. Thanks to all of you for attending this joint machine learning webinar, the purpose of which, as Vincenzo said, is to demonstrate the advantages of using machine learning in the context of business use cases such as this classic human resource one, which is managing and reducing employee attrition. Next. During this webinar, we will briefly introduce our company and services, why we are concentrating on this specific business case, what type of insight we are looking for, KNIME and other tools that we have used to obtain it, and a full-fledged demo with the architecture, the reports and dashboards through which we will understand the key findings, and using the predictive capabilities of KNIME, how to reduce the attrition costs and maximize the employee value and satisfactions. We will reach therefore the conclusion, and then we will save some time for the Q&A. A few words about our company. Next. ClearPix is an end-to-end business analytics consultancy firm. It's been operating worldwide for the last 20 years, and we have a broad customer and projects portfolio and success stories across more than 20 industries, as you can see here. Our headquarters is in Barcelona, in Spain, and we have also offices in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Our services span from business intelligence to big data and advanced analytics, complemented also by web and mobile capability for tailored solutions. We invest in the leading and most state-of-the-art technologies and methodologies to help our customer make the most of their data, whatever the data are and wherever the data are. Next. To help our customers achieving their business goals, we provide a full end-to-end portfolio of services. From the inception of the data journey by estimating company readiness and formulating a strategy, to determining what are the program success factors, what are the business requirements, and then implementing and supporting the BI, big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence project that you want to enable under a solid data governance and management layer. The outcome of our work spans from, as you can see, executive and management-oriented analytics to real-time operational and tactical data discovery, reporting, and enablement, to web and mobile applications made just for you. Next. Clearpix is a KNIME partner with arguably one of the most certified and skilled team in EMEA, and with functional knowledge on more than 20 industries, which we consider as a key differentiator. Next. Our consultants are able to hold your hand throughout your whole machine learning and AI journey, from advising and planning to implementing and supporting your use cases and platform. Our PIL program, which is a quick start for companies about to embark in their first advanced analytics program or are looking for fast and delivery and high value delivery, our PIL program covers more than 15 use cases across industries. Should you be interested, just feel free to reach out to me and we can discuss about it. Anyway, in this webinar, we will analyze a specific use case for the human resources function, that is, how to reduce employee attrition. Therefore, let me pass the baton to my colleague Mark Girao, who is in this meeting, and he will take you through it. So Mark, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Gianluca. Thank you, Vincenzo. I'm Mark, data scientist expert in Clearpix, and I'm going to drive you through this business case with the detailed demo afterwards. So the business case is the employee attrition. Employee attrition is a term used when an employee leaves a company, and that could be for different reasons, for working conditions, for not having a clear career path, or at the end, almost 40% of the employees are passively looking or attending for new jobs. So this is a major concern for employers. And this has an impact for any of the businesses. So the business value here is that reducing employee attrition, so retaining this talent, will reduce training costs, recruiting costs, and it will increase the quality of your services, profitability, productivity, and the client trust. So yeah, the goal is to reduce this employee attrition and retain the best talent in your company. But we will not focus only on the attrition rate, which most of the companies look at. We will also focus on two KPIs that during the development of this solution, this Clearpix solution, we derived. Those two KPIs are attrition cost and employee value. So it's not only the attrition percentage that we will focus on, but how this translates into business. So attrition cost will be calculated as a weighted average of the recruitment cost and the productivity cost, as well as the training cost for a new employee to replace the previous employee that left, right? So to hire a new employee and for him to be ready to perform as the previous employee, it takes around it can take from 1 to 18 months. Okay, so you can think about the cost for the company that this implies. The other KPI is the employee value, and this will be also a weighted average of the performance rating of this employee, the experience and the skills, and the satisfaction metrics and motivation, right? So these are two key metrics that we will focus later on in this presentation. So at the end, it's an optimization game. You want to retain the best value, the most talented employees, while reducing your costs, your attrition costs, right? And here's where Clearpix will make the difference, because with this solution, we can help you to achieve this optimization gain. Okay. So in this solution, we will focus on the key drivers of the employee attrition. We will also be able to simulate various scenarios. So we will be able to change the value of some variables, like, for example, the salaries or the overtime of the employees, and see how this impacts in the prediction of the probability of attrition of our employees. And as you will see, there will be some dashboardings from which you can derive your insights and take decisions based on those dashboards. There will be a simulation environment, and we can also provide the installation and the setup of the environment for this solution to be delivered in your own business. Okay. We also can provide the user training and documentation. And it's very easy to track the value of this solution, because you will have to track the reduction costs related to attrition, the increase in retention of your valuable employees, and an overall retention rate reduction as well. Let me jump into the tools and architecture that we used for this solution. So first tool, of course, is KNIME. KNIME is a top leader in the data prep and predictive analytics. And it has two main products, which is the KNIME Analytics Platform, which is an open source product where you can develop your workflows in KNIME. You can do your data prep, you can train your models, and then once you've got these trained models, then you can deploy them into your KNIME server, which is the licensed version of KNIME, where you can collaborate within a same workflow. You can put some security, and you can deploy your workflows at the end. So together with KNIME, we will also use Tableau, because it has perfect integration with KNIME just for the data visualization. So this solution has three parts. First part is the data. So we defined a data model, let's say some tables that we will need for our model to be trained with. Okay, those tables are related to the employee, like if he's doing overtime or not, the salary, the trainings, the age, gender, and many other variables. Once we've got that, then we'll pass to the machine learning part, where KNIME will take place here. We will data prep and train the model with the machine learning, with the KNIME Analytics Platform. And once we've got the results, we can visualize them in the dashboarding part, okay? And with those dashboards, we can take decisions afterwards. So talking about data model, it's a simple Excel with different tabs that any business can fill in with their employee data, and this will serve as an input for our model. As you can see here, we have different variables: gender, marital status, education, okay, environment satisfaction. For the sake of this presentation, we used a data set from Kaggle because of confidentiality reasons, and we'll use that data set to show you the solutions that we made in ClearPix. This is just a sample of this data. Okay, there's female, age 41, single, that studied life sciences. Okay. And how is this pipeline? So within KNIME Analytics Platform, we get the data input. We analyze this data and prepare it for our data model. Then we train different models. We pick the best one. We make the predictions, meaning we identify which employees are more likely to leave our company. Once we've got these predictions, we can save them in a spreadsheet, for example. Then we can already go to the dashboarding part and analyze these first results, these first predictions. But even more, let's say you are an HR manager and there's an end of year review and you want to change some working conditions of your employees, then you can go to what if analysis or scenarios where you can change some of the variables and see how this impacts in the prediction of your model. Say that an employee that is doing overtime, so you tell him that next year he's not going to do any overtime at all, and see if you can retain that talent. And all this pipeline at the end will be deployed into the KNIME server and will be consumed via the KNIME web portal, okay? And the dashboards will be in Tableau. Okay, so with no further ado, let me jump into the demo. Okay, so this is the KNIME web portal. As you can see here, we have different folders with our workflows. So let's start this one. Okay, so this is the first tab. The first thing that the solution requires is you to upload a file. And we will upload this sample data. Okay, once the data is uploaded, we can continue. And now KNIME is reading the data and processing it to take the first descriptive analysis of your data. So now we will see first results. So here you can check if your data has been uploaded correctly. You can check your data here. Next table, you can see some statistics of your data, like averages, minimum, maximums, and variances, for example, of the age and all of your variables. And here you have the first results. This takes the historical data from your employees, the employees that left the company and also the current employees. So from that data, you can check, for example, in the sales department, which represents 30% of your employees, 6.26% of them left the company, right? Same analysis by the performance rating. So let's say you have solid performers, 84% of your solid performers, 13.6% left the company as well. So same descriptive analysis by the job role. And here we can see we have kind of a problem with the sales representative because they represent a big percentage of the people that left. And by salary range, as one could expect it, people with less salary tend to leave the company more than the rest. Okay. Once we've got this descriptive analysis, we go into the model training. And in this tab, we can see that we've trained 3 models, and the best model was the multi-layer perceptron, which is a neural network, and it had an accuracy of 78%. And this one was the one chosen to deploy because it has the best F measure, which is here. As it is a classification problem and it was an unbalanced data set, we should focus more into the F measure than the accuracy. Also, you have the detail of the confusion matrix, where you can see the diagonal as the the observations that the model has identified correctly, and more information about other models that were trained, like gradient boosting and random forest, and were discarded because of the F measure was not as good as the perceptron one. So once we've selected the best model, then we can start making the predictions for our current employees and analyze these first outputs. So here we have this analysis, this first analysis. As you can see, we have 7% of our employees are at risk of leaving the company. This is what our model is telling us. Same by department. As you could expect it, also our machine learning model is telling that we have a problem with the sales representative. 2.84% are at risk. And the same analysis by the performance rating, solid performers, 6.65% of them are at risk of leaving the company. In terms of job role, here we see the sales representative that our model is telling us that they are at risk. A lot of percentages quite big. And same for the salary ranges, right? The lower salary ranges are at risk more than the other salary ranges. Then we could download this CSV directly, like these first outputs. Just by clicking here, you got your CSV for each one of your employees with the prediction attached to each one of the employees. Or even more, we could go into directly to the Tableau dashboard and see it like graphically. Okay, so let's jump into the first results. Let me go full screen here. Okay, so this first dashboard tells us the predicted employee attrition. And it will be an analysis by different dimensions like gender, business travel, by department, by salary hike and distance from home. Overall, we have, as we saw before, 7%, over 7% of our employees at risk, which represents 90 employees, right? Among them, these people, these employees at risk, they distribute among male and female. Male represents 67% of them. By business travel, we see, for example, here. So let's make like a role play here. Let's say we are like the HR manager, and we have these results, and we would like to get some insights from these results, right? So I will see that 7% of our employees are at risk, and maybe we have a problem with the ones male traveling rarely. 9% of them are at risk, which represents a big piece, a big percentage. So among them, 81%, that represents 49 employees. Okay, same analysis by department. As we can see, we have a problem with the salespeople, male, that work in the sales department. And here we have the analysis by salary hike. So for example, people with a salary hike of 12% last year, 8% of them are at risk of leaving, which represents 14 people, right? And the same for distance from home. People living at 4 kilometers away from the office are at risk, which 6 people that represents 10.91% of the employees at this distance from home. Okay, so now let's play a bit with this dashboard. Let's say we want to focus on the people that has been in our company 8 years or less. And we want to focus also in the people traveling rarely. Okay, so the HR manager could say, okay, from those people, of course, we have a problem in the sales department. People with low salary hike are at risk of leaving. but something weird as well with the people with big salary hike here, right? With this dashboard, we could explain maybe this big percentage or big percentage of salary hike that the people tend to live, because they could be living far away from the office, and that could explain this fact, right? So within this dashboard, you can play around and see and take some insights from it, right? But of course, this is the first piece of the solution. But okay, well, how this impacts my my business, right? Okay, I have a percentage of attrition. I have an analysis between salary high, distance from home, but in terms of numbers, how this is impact. So let's see this next dashboard, which is more business focused. And here we have that these 90 people at risk will translate into over $3 million of attrition cost. As remember, I explained what was the attrition cost before and also the employee score. So this dashboard will focus more into this business impact, okay? The next graph, you could see a scatter plot between the employee score, so how valuable are our employees, and the attrition cost. What will impact the company, or how this will impact the company if one of our employees leaves, okay? So for example, these people here, they have a high employee score, they're very talented people. So if they leave, that will represent a lot of attrition costs for us as well. Then we can focus on the travel frequency. As we saw, we had a problem in the travel, the people that travel rarely. And that would represent 1.4 million as attrition cost for us. Next graph is the years since last promotion. So most of the people at risk were recently promoted. That's a fact. And by department, also we see the sales, the research development have a huge attrition cost. Job level, we could expect it is managers have the highest attrition cost because they are key employees for our company, and directors not so much because they are just three employees that are directors, right? We could also interactively filter this dashboard and see, for example, these three employees that we know that they are key for our company. We have their IDs and the job roles, and at the end we have the employee, the attrition cost associated with each one of them. Okay, so now we can go back to the KNIME web portal. Now we have analyzed the results of our predictive model. But let's suppose we are at the end of the year and we have to assess the performance of our employees, and we would like to retain like the high value employees, right? So here you could see the same scatter plot as before. We have the employee score versus the estimated attrition cost. And let's say we would like to focus on these three employees as before, because we know they are key for our company. So the HR manager will select these three employees, go down, and here we have different levers that we can play with and create different scenarios, right? So here we have these three employees that we filtered. We want to focus on these ones. And let's say that we don't want them to do overtime because we know they are quite burnt out. So we want to avoid that. For example, for this one, we can give him a bit of salary increase, right? We can also give him some stock options level, a bit more, okay? Then we can go to the second one, and for the second one, we can give him a promotion. Okay, so years since current role would be 0, and years since last promotion will be 0 as well. And for the last one, let's say we know he has a family and we would like him to have a better work-life balance. Correct. So now we can go ahead and see this scenario, how this can impact my results from the machine learning model. So we see here that we achieved that these 3 employees that were predicted as at risk, now our model is telling us that they will remain. So we got them retained. So we achieved that. We could also download the CSV with the new results, or as before, we can go to Tableau and see this new scenario. Okay, so this is the comparison with our HR strategy, right? I'm the HR manager. I applied some talent retention for the next year, and my strategy translates into decrease in the attrition or the employees at risk. We decreased with 3 employees. We retained 3 talented employees. That represents 3.3% of reduction. And in terms of attrition cost, there's 18% of attrition cost reduction. Okay, they distribute among the sales department and the research department. Okay, and the roles are manager and research directors. Okay, so we can see here the prevented attrition cost for each one of these job roles, for example. At the end, we can see which of the employees we achieved to retain. Okay, so these 396, 575, these are just employee IDs. Okay. Okay, so this was the comparison with our HR talent retention strategy. Now we can jump back to the presentation. So let's wrap up and make some conclusions of this demo and this webinar. So what we've seen, it's we have defined the data model. So we've defined which are the most common variables that impacts into our employee attrition. We have in place a pipeline that loads, processes, analyzes data, and trains the predictive models using KNIME. Then we have defined different dashboards to understand patterns and to give us the insights of which of our employees are more likely to leave the company. We could also see a simulation or a scenario tool that can that allow us to play around with different HR talent retention strategies. And just to mention, there's a couple of blog articles in the Cliprix blog talking about this solution. And there's also a simplified version of the KNIME workflow in the public KNIME Hub, which is a public repository in KNIME. And also KNIME published an article about this solution in their website. So yeah, so just as a conclusion, that using this wonderful tool, KNIME, that you can prep data and apply machine learning to your data, to your business, together with a visualization tool that we use Tableau, but you could use Power BI or any other tool as well for the visualization part, together with us, with Cliprix, that we have talented team dedicated to advanced analytics and machine learning. With these three parts, we can achieve meaningful insights with no time. Okay. And by no time, I mean no time. How easy it is to implement this use case? From the software installation to the release, it's just 20 days. Okay. We need 2 days for the software installation. Then we curate data and transform it. 5 days more. Then we go into machine learning modeling and tuning, the dashboarding part, and we release it in 20 days. And what we need from the client side, we would need some support from their side for the software installation, for example, from the infrastructure and network team. It's just 2 days. And then we will need a subject matter expert on the database and the data sources for 5 days for us to develop our analysis, curation and transformation of the data, together with the machine learning model and tuning. And at the end, we will need 1 day of the IT team for the integration of the dashboards that we deliver as well. Okay, so that was all for this webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. And now I invite you to type your questions in the Q&A capability here in the Zoom platform. And I will try to answer them as many as I can. And also I invite you to contact us for further information or demos or any other topic related to this business case. Okay. Okay, so let me jump to the questions and answers. Okay, so for example, first question I see here is, can we download KNIME web portal? Okay. So KNIME web portal is it's a product that comes with KNIME server, which is a licensed product. And if you have the license with the KNIME server, you can use the KNIME web portal where you can interact with your workflows, you can share your workflows, you can apply some security, right? So it's a licensed product here. Okay, let's go for the next one. What is the minimum size of a data set for such use? Okay, there's no, let's say, there's no rule of thumb. Of course, the more observations you've got, the better the model you will have. But normally we would say like you have at least 3 years of historical data of your employees, employees that left and employees that are still currently in your organization. And let's say you need at least 100 employees, for example. Okay, but this will always depend on each one of the businesses will have to analyze this data and decide if there's enough data or not. So next question is, is it free, KNIME software? Oh yeah, well, the KNIME Analytics Platform, it's an open source product. So you can start by downloading it from the KNIME website directly, and you can start developing your workflows for the data prep and machine learning. They have a bunch of machine learning predefined algorithms, and that's open source. That's free. The other product is the KNIME server. KNIME server is a licensed version. So that's not free, but it's more to deploy your workflows in an enterprise. and to collaborate within your team of data scientists. Okay, but yeah, a KNIME Analytics platform is free and you can start using it today. Okay, next one. So the question is there any customized training available for KNIME Analytics from Clearpix? Actually, we're giving trainings in Clearpix in different softwares, and I'm not sure if the KNIME is training is in the website, but definitely we do KNIME trainings as well. Yes.
Chiming in, Mark, yes, the answer. We also offered, as required, training that is tailored on the customer specific needs. So there is as you can see in the website, there is a plethora of KNIME tutorials available. There are trainings available offered by KNIME, and also Clearpix offered customized training. So the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you, Gianluca. Next question is, according to the GDPR, is it right to do statistics over employees? So the thing here is all the data is marked because all your, there's no names, it's all about IDs. So with that, there's no confidentiality issues, right? Next one would be, can you give the correct keywords for your resource at KNIME Hub? If you type in the KNIME Hub employee attrition, you'll find a couple of workflows, one for the training part and the other for the predictive part, or the predictive part, the deployment part. And the user, it's Clearpix, so you'll identify like easily these two resources. Next one is, can you show the KNIME workflow? Yes. I could show it, but it's a big extent, so. So this is the KNIME workflow that we used. As you can see, there are different meta nodes. I'm not going to go into detail because it's a huge workflow, but yeah, this is the KNIME Analytics Platform. You just drag and drop your boxes that make some transformations and connect them, and it's very user-friendly. For example, you could go into this meta node, for example, and here you see all this workflow that I'm not going to go into detail, of course, today, as we have no time. But yeah, this is the KNIME Analytics Platform. This is open source. You can try it, and you'll see it's very user-friendly and easy to use, and you can embed Python code if you're a Python expert. Okay.
If I can chime in again, Mark,
Yes.
if you can go back to the workflow also, I would like to highlight something that I think really puts KNIME shoulder above similar other tools, which is, as you can see, workflows, even of a certain complexity, can actually be reduced to very, very intuitive and streamlined flows. This is because a part of the nesting capabilities that you can see, there is the possibility to comment and actually tag every single block of this. And during the expansion, you can basically simply, if you want to create your own little pieces of code, just drag and drop the nodes that you need, put the inputs as you required and the outputs to the next node or to the next block, and you have a full-fledged workflows in a matter of literally minutes. So KNIME makes it extremely easy if you have a certain set of data to experiment with them. Okay, then it's also easy to actually take this knowledge and actually hand it over to whomever is required by simply commenting every single node, every single piece of workflow, so that everything is actually reduced to the minimum of complexity as possible.
Thank you, Gianluca.
Thank you very much, Gianluca. Yeah, I'm jumping in as well. Mark, we received quite a lot of questions, and maybe we can follow up with some of those. But I think there is one that is really interesting, and maybe we can answer it live. And it's related to the use case that you showed. Can emotional element of attrition be captured through ML? I guess this is more referring to sentiment analysis, maybe.
Yes, so for this use case, we included this sentimental analysis through I'll say so you can deliver questionnaires to your employees and detect how they feel, like if they are motivated, if they are not, if they are, so if they have a job satisfaction. So all this sentimental analysis has been inputted into this use case via these variables. Yes. Of course, you could also do a completely different analysis just to see what's the moral of your employees by doing a sentimental analysis, like completely separated of this business case. And you can do it with KNIME because it has sentimental analysis machine learning models as well.
Cool. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we have here a couple more questions. Maybe we have time for another one before to.
Okay. Let's answer this. Okay, so there's a question here. What different other use cases you were working with? So yeah, we've been working with a bunch of use cases in advanced analytics in ClearPix, but just to mention a few, we're working in the sales price prediction. So how to optimize your prices of your products if you're like an e-commerce to optimize your revenue. That's one of them. Another one is the another solution we've got is the ITF, which is the Intelligent Talent Finder, which would screen your candidates for a job and will detect which ones are the most that fits better these the conditions of the job. We have another of sentimental analysis that solution will analyze data from the social networks and see if your brand is considered a good brand or bad brand, and on all kind of sentimental analysis on that. Okay. Yeah, just to mention some of them. Okay. So I don't know if you have time for more questions. Otherwise, we can just tackle each one of them via email to answer them. Because maybe.
Sorry, Mark, just jumping in again regarding the portfolio of use cases that we have in here. We have more than 15 use cases kind of ready-made in our PIL program. Diman, we have actually our AA team leader that is actually taking care of the delivery of them, and he will be happy to list them as required.
Yeah, thanks, Gian, and thank you everyone for joining in this call. This is Diman here from ClearPix. I'm basically heading the data science practice within the organization. So the list of use cases that we are working on internally for our different clients and customers are pretty extensive. That spans across multiple domains from banking, telecom, HR, retail, and so on. Few noteworthy solutions that I would like to mention that you'd like to look at a later point of time would be social listening to understand social sentiment and topic progressions. At the same time, fraud detection in banking, churn modelings, retail pricing, understanding price sensitivity in your retail aspects, and so. Yeah, definitely, you guys can reach out to us regarding those as well. Yeah, and any questions do you have further? Please keep them coming.
Okay, thank you, Diman. Maybe I can answer last question, for example. So a person new to KNIME here, is it essential to use KNIME server for deployments? Well, the thing is, you will need that for the deployment. If several users will like to use those predictions and interact with the KNIME workflows, then you will need the KNIME server. If you just want to make some developments for yourself, you can use your KNIME Analytics platform and then create an output and share, for example, into a database or in an Excel file, right? But for deployments in an enterprise level, you will need the KNIME server, yes. Right, Vincenzo, maybe you can give more.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, KNIME server basically adds capabilities around collaboration, automation, deployment, and management to what is currently available with KNIME Analytics Platform. So everything that basically goes around this type of set of functionality require KNIME server license. Okay, so I guess maybe we can follow up with some of the questions also via email and take them offline. I would like to thank you, Mark and Gianluca, for the great work in preparing this webinar. And as I mentioned at the beginning, the webinar will be also available on YouTube, I guess tomorrow or in the next few days. And we will send also a follow-up email with additional links, maybe to the workflow that Mark showed on the KNIME Hub, and maybe also the slides that he just presented.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to add anything else, Mark and Gianluca.
No, it was a pleasure presenting here in this KNIME webinar. So yeah, hope there's a new one. And just recommend people to follow these webinars of KNIME because they are all very, very interesting.
Cool.
And we're not saying it because we are offering them, of course. It's an absolutely objective statement. Nevertheless, also from my side, thank you very much for attending the webinar. We are not going to leave the questions unanswered. Let me assure you on that. We will follow that up offline. Hopefully there will be other sessions like this. Please do feel free to suggest via mail or contacting KNIME for improvements and suggestions regarding any kind of argument that can add value to this webinar.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you again, Gianluca and Mark, and everyone who attended the webinar. And see you at the next webinar. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.